High control groups, especially religious ones, need to indoctrinate children. After all, if they can't indoctrinate the members' own children, then they will not be able to sustain themselves for more than a generation. And Mormons are almost copying Jehovah's Witnesses with their children indoctrination efforts, with their cartoons following not Miguel and Sophia, but Miguel and Sophia. That's right, they changed me into a blue-haired kid for some reason. Let's see how Mormons indoctrinate their children in this YouTube video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's begin.
What do you think of my frog?
He needs warts.
I agree.
Mijo, what are you thinking of right now?
I'm thinking this kid was born without a funny bone. I'm totally hilarious, but I'm getting nothing.
We need to have a chat after church.
What'd I do? Are you mad at me?
Oh, not at all. But we need to talk more about the sacrament. Will you organize a family discussion after dinner?
Okay.
Can I be in charge of treats?
You're really close.
Shh. You may, yes.
Right out of the gate, this is familiar as an ex-Jehovah's Witness. There is nothing more boring as a child than going to a religious ceremony, and you will try to distract yourself with anything. This is also an issue among Jehovah's Witnesses, but children have far less freedom there since they cannot be playing around and have to sit down being quiet for the whole meeting, usually getting physically punished when they can't do it. But while Jehovah's Witnesses have the stick, Mormons have the carrot, as we'll see. Also, am I too Jehovah's Witness when I think no child gets this excited about an upcoming indoctrination session?
I want to show you something. Miguel, do you have the bread? Good. Sophie? Now, what do the bread and water remind you of?
The sacrament.
Jesus' body and blood.
The sacrament prayers help us remember Jesus and the promise, or covenant, we made with him at baptism.
Izzy, as you listen to the prayers, what covenant do we make when we partake of the sacrament?
We promise to always remember Jesus and keep his commandments. And as we keep that covenant, he promises that we can have his spirit with us to help us.
First of all, Mormons don't drink wine like Jesus, or at least grape juice? Is this some Book of the Mormon retcon? Other than that, this almost feels better than a family worship at a Jehovah's Witness family, which is usually spent simply studying some boring publication or watching a cringe video. And that's why I wanted to talk about Mormons, because they've perfected children indoctrination. First, the dad uses props to tell them about their religion. This informs them intellectually on what their beliefs are supposed to be. But it's what he does next that takes child indoctrination to the next level.
Do you know what the bread and water remind me of? That Jesus came to earth to help us with two things we couldn't overcome on our own. When I eat the bread, I remember that Jesus sacrificed his body on the cross. Now, what happened to his body?
He died and was resurrected.
He conquered death. Mi amor, when you drink the water, what do you remember?
I remember the blood Christ spilt as he paid the price for the sins of every person on earth. And because of that, if we repent, we can be forgiven.
He conquered sin. No one else could have overcome sin and death for us. Only Jesus Christ.
This is what Mormons do way better than Jehovah's Witnesses when it comes to indoctrinate children. To Mormons, and pretty much any other religion, there's a huge sentimental component to it. Turning on a candle is an almost trivial and meaningless action unless you're doing it in a Catholic church as you pray for something. If you light up a candle in a church while making a wish, essentially, lighting up a candle will suddenly be filled with all of this deep meaning that is fully personalized to you. Religion doesn't tell you how to feel. Religion is happy to use feelings to keep you indoctrinated. This is how Jehovah's Witnesses do it, for example.
Suppose that, out of curiosity, you get into a discussion forum with individuals who claim to be Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, maybe they are, and maybe they aren't. You don't know. You've never met them. And someone starts asking questions. What did you think of last month's broadcast? Did you really find it encouraging? Or do you think the brothers who write Watchtower articles are living in the real world? I wonder if they realize just how hard it is out here. And then a few others join in with their own negative comments. Now, you don't know whether these individuals are apostates or just brothers and sisters who are in serious spiritual trouble. But does it matter? How does it make you feel?
Feelings are extremely important for indoctrination and for advanced brainwashing techniques because they're irrational, real, and personal. If a person or a cult can ever fool you into crediting them or their magical powers for those deep and personal feelings you have, then you'll be a convert for life and will be willing to go far more for the cult than if your beliefs were based on reason. Reason and evidence are pointless if you base your faith on feelings like these kids are about to learn to do.
Now, Sophie, close your eyes. Miguel, you too. Miguel, when you think about the bread and sacrifice of his body, what do you see?
I see the empty tomb.
And what does that mean to you?
That because Jesus Christ died for us and was resurrected, all of Heavenly Father's children will be resurrected one day.
That is very good.
How does it make you feel?
Really good inside.
Sophie, what do you see that reminds you of the water?
I see the olive trees in the Garden of Gethsemane. And it's nighttime. It's where Jesus took all the sins of the world upon him.
How does it make you feel when you see it?
It makes me happy sad. Sad because he suffered so much. But happy because Jesus made it possible for us to repent.
It makes me feel that way too.
See, there's no intellectual effort here. The kids know the story, so the father asks the children to close their eyes and think about it as he asks what they see. This allows the kids to focus on whatever part of the story feels more significant to them. And then, a direct appeal to emotion comes where the father directly asks, "How does this make you feel?" Because that's the most important part, linking feelings to the religion. If these kids can base their faith in what they feel, then no rational explanation will ever deconvert them.
When Jesus overcame sin and death, that is what is called the atonement of Jesus Christ. And when we remember what he did for us as we take the sacrament, it becomes the most special time of the week.
Next Sunday, when we take the sacrament, practice remembering what we've talked about. Even try closing your eyes and remember what you saw, if that helps.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
We love you.
I guess I now turn the time over to Sophia, who's in charge of the treat.
Drum roll! Dad is going to make his famous mint frosted cakes.
You said you wanted to be in charge of the tree.
I am. I'm the treat manager, and I'm assigning you to make them.
Okay, guess I'm making them. Can I at least have some help?
Absolutely. Miguel will be your sous chef.
You're not going to help with anything? You think you're clever, don't you? Oh, come here. Come here.
Dad, I can see you right there.
Oh, I'm out of breath.
That hiding place only worked when I was really little.
I need to get in shape.
This bit is funny and almost adorable, although from personal experience, family indoctrination sessions don't usually end with a festive spirit of bonding. If anything, everyone is at least a little bit happy to be able to return to their lives and not having to think about the stuff anymore. Or at least until next time you're in church, that is.
Thank you.
And that's clearly what the Mormon Church wants with this cartoon, to be in control of children's thoughts when they are in the church. This is a very advanced brainwashing technique because, as I explained, it doesn't rely on reason. Instead, this cartoon teaches children to find their own reasons to be indoctrinated, so church indoctrination sessions are more effective with them. At the end of the day, every high control group needs to be in high control of their victims. And the earlier you learn to let them be in control and direct your thoughts, the easier it'll be to surrender your brain to their group thinking. Also, this is more effective than how Jehovah's Witnesses do it. There's no bit of the meetings in the Jehovah's Witness religion where you get to have a little snack while thinking about Jesus. Meetings are only filled with boring speeches, and the most interesting it'll get is if there's a Q&A section where you get to lift your arm to volunteer to read the answer to the question the speaker asked. Jehovah's Witnesses, however, still do these self-indoctrination sessions, but they call it meditating, and it's usually done in their personal study, when they read the Bible and have to think about the Jehovah's Witness meaning of what they read and how that strengthens their love for the cult.
Got it. I find the answers in all that.
It's more than just the answers.
I'm with it. I'm all about study.
Which do you remember more from our studies? The answers or the things that touch your heart? Yeah.
But whoever practices sexual immorality is sinning against his own body. Not sure why, but it made me think of Mum and Dad. His constant cheating, actually. Mum's humiliation, the divorce, all the misery. I didn't want that.
Mormons, however, have perfected it into a technique that even children can use to enjoy their indoctrination at the church. So, what would you rather have? A bored Jehovah's Witness child with sad and boring memories of being at the meetings, or a fully indoctrinated Mormon child who is far more unlikely to question their own beliefs rationally? Also, which animation style do you like more, Caleb and Sophia or Miguel and Sophia? I feel like Caleb and Sophia looks like they really wanted to make them 3D, but didn't really have the budget or skills to do it well for a very long time. Whereas this Mormon's cartoons look simpler, but better animated. As someone who's fascinated about how indoctrination and brainwashing works, I found this extremely interesting. So let me know below, do you agree with my analysis? And which child indoctrination cartoon should I watch next? Thank you so much for watching, especially my supporters right here. Please consider supporting me on Patreon to get early ad-free videos, downloadables, and more.